This is Game Set Match Kentucky, episode 38, recorded on Saturday, June 22nd, 2024, entitled Something About Llama Trophies. Hey everybody, it's time for another episode of Game Set Match Kentucky, where we talk about all things related to the Central Kentucky Tennis Series and probably a whole lot more that you never asked for. We're recording on Saturday, June 22nd. I'm Chris Godby, the chairman and one of the founders of the CKTS, where the lines are good and sandbagging is for golf. I'm here at Studio C, also known as my work office in Russell Springs, Kentucky. Chad Young is in Studio B in Scottsville. Good to see you. I saw you earlier in the week, as you know, but this is our first show in a month. We've been pretty busy. You've been the busiest by far. I will concede that. We were in the midst of our of high school regionals the last time we did an episode, and you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of what you've been up to since then?
Well, I feel like after the tournament last weekend, I've finally been able to catch my breath. It was a crazy busy about 10-week period. We recorded when the regionals were being played, probably in between the first couple rounds and semifinals, I would imagine.
Yes, something like that.
And so, we had we just played the team regional. Have we
that
won
was completed. That was completed, I'm pretty sure.
So then we had the individual region, and then we had the individual state. That was after Memorial Day weekend. And then so we went to that. I had to come back to Bowling Green for the 55 and over that we were hosting. Went back to Lexington/Berea for the team tournament. And then came back for the Sydney Cassady. I'm sorry. Came back, went to Louisville for the 40 and over USTA. Then came back for the Sydney Cassady Memorial last weekend. So
let's not gloss over a couple of things. Your girls team went to the state Final Four. Congratulations!
Thank you very much.
That's awesome.
It was a great accomplishment. Getting out of the region was going to be tough. Once we got out of the region, I felt like the draw was pretty good for us. Central Hardin's a good team. We had beaten them in the regular season. It was close. We pulled that one out, and then we beat George Rogers Clark High School and ran into the buzzsaw. Sacred Heart semifinals. Yep. But we played pretty well against them, played as well as Corbin did in the finals. And so, it was a huge accomplishment to make it to the Final Four. First year we've done the team event like that. And so, I was very, very proud of our girls.
And it was fun to watch. I came, as you know, I came up to see you play Central Hardin, and it was so close. Came down to that final match on the court, and I thought, I better not stick around for the next round because I may be a bad luck charm. But you took care of George Rogers Clark pretty quickly, and I assume you pulled the rest of the matches off. Which matches of the five did you win first to complete that and make it to the semifinals?
I think we won 1 and 2 singles. Two doubles went pretty quickly, which is kind of the opposite of the Central Hard match. That was the decider. But I think we won at 2 doubles 0-0, and then we won singles 1 and 2 singles. We won pretty easily. We were up on 1 doubles and we were even on 3 singles. So I knew. UTR helps a lot in kind of knowing what to expect. And getting by Central Hardin, I knew if we won that match, we probably wouldn't have any problems. But I also didn't know who it was going to be. You don't know who wins the other one when you're going into the event. But I knew we had a pretty good chance against either George Rogers Clark or Bullitt East. And just getting past Central Hardin was pretty big. That was probably one of the better matches on the first day of the girls' state tournament.
Well, again, congratulations,
Thank you.
and I hope you make it as far or further next year. And I would love to come back and watch again. That was fun. My first trip to the tennis state tournament in 18 years, I
Wow.
think. So,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, it was fun. It's a beautiful day too.
Yeah, I
Perfect. It
mean
was great.
the team event going to Berea was not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
The individual, I think we talked about it probably
Yeah,
on the last podcast.
spread out.
Going
Yeah.
between Lexington and Berea and Richmond, it was really a nightmare. I hope they can find a way. I hope they can find a solution because it's bad. That's a really bad situation for a lot of schools who don't have
Mm-hmm.
more than two people on their coaching staff.
Right.
We'll probably do some things. We'll get some parents in a situation where they can be volunteer coaches just so we have some coverage. We did have to miss a couple matches. You hate doing that, but it was unfortunately what we were stuck with, and that's probably my biggest criticism is that we didn't know that we were going to be spread into three sites until like 2 weeks before. That's way late in the game. Didn't give a lot of schools time to prepare for that.
And let's not forget, just a few weeks ago, your 40 and over men's team.
Right? That's right.
The team, or it wasn't your team, but you were on the team.
Yep.
It's Brad Hale's team.
Brad Hales' team.
Shout out, Brad.
Absolutely. Captain
Okay.
did a great job. We have lost in the semifinals the last 2 years. And we were in the same position we were in last year, where we went undefeated in pool play and made it to the semifinals, and we lost last year. Lost a couple 10-point tiebreakers. And so we were able to win on Sunday morning. We played at U of L, and then played a team from Henderson in the final. And we had split with them on Friday in pool play, and it came down to sets one. And we split again in the final, and it came down to sets one. And so it was very rewarding. We've been very close the last couple of years, and to finally pull it out was a pretty big deal for everybody.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
You're
you.
getting to coach a lot, and you're getting to play a lot over the last 30 days.
It's hard.
And, I'm sure that was very hard on you. Like you said off camera a few minutes ago, you haven't unpacked some of your bags yet.
Right.
So
That's right. It was. I mean, we went, Louisville, Lexington, Bowling Green. I mean, we just kept going back and forth. I'd be home for a couple days, and I'm just not used to traveling that much.
a lot of hotels,
Yeah,
a lot of
we stayed
meals
in
on
the
the
house.
road,
We
a
stayed
lot
in
of
the
fast
house.
food, I bet.
Yeah, that's the worst thing. Is just I ate terrible. But you don't sleep very well, and you don't eat very well, and it's not very good for your health. And I wasn't really able to play as much as I really needed to because of the high school tennis season. And you try to play a little bit, but I played okay at state. I wasn't great, so I don't have as much on the plate for the next month. So I'm hoping to get myself in good playing shape for sectionals next month.
So it's been a while. It's been about a month since our last episode. We had just completed the Sydney Cassady Memorial Tournament, and we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. I wanted to show a recent photo actually taken this morning of the progress on Studio A. I guess this is a tradition now, a few episodes in a row. I'm just going to keep showing photos, and then one day it's actually going to be finished, and I will shoot an episode in there. So there you're looking at a picture of the current status of Studio A, and it still has a ways to go.
It looks good. The drywall looks great.
More good news is that I've been able to play just about as much as I want to on my right foot. So
Very good.
I don't really pay for it the next day. Sometimes if it's on a hard court, I can kind of feel it a little bit when I first get out of bed the next morning on the foot. But, other than, getting back into shape and trying to build my speed back up, I'm enjoying playing. So looking forward to playing more. and we have some opportunities for all of us to play more that we're going to announce in just a little while. But today on this episode of Game Set Match Kentucky, I want to lead off with a correction from the last episode. So I titled that episode Membership Freedom, and alluding to there not being any memberships in CKTS anymore. And when I went back and read the meeting notes from the February board meeting, actually what we decided is everyone is a member. So however it's worded, it works out exactly the same way for players. But I misspoke, and I wanted to clarify that we're really not membership free, because everybody that plays one of our tournaments is in essence a member of the CKTS. And then, you have the Tour Pass option as well, for a deeper discount and priority entry in crowded events. So everybody's a member.
And your membership fee is built into the registration fee for each tournament.
In essence, yes. In essence, your entry fees are part of the membership, and so there you go. I just wanted to clarify that, because when I went back and made board meeting notes from that meeting, I was like, "Oh, I got that wrong on the podcast," and I would like to clarify that. So everyone's a member.
What people may not have realized is your membership fee supported the CKTS as a whole. The website, the registration form, all that stuff, the T-shirts. And so you're still supporting the CKTS through your entry into the tournament. But the biggest thing, like we talked about, is we want everybody to be a part of the CKTS. And some people maybe weren't clear about what that was, so they chose not to. So now there is really no option. If you play a tournament, you're part of the CKTS.
And you mentioned T-shirts, so I'll go ahead and ask, for anyone wondering about T-shirts, we're at kind of a wait and see on T-shirts. See, are we going to be able to fund ourselves with this new plan, and can we afford T-shirts with this new plan? We're trying to keep our costs for you, the players, as low as we can to get everybody to play. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I don't know. We may offer a shop where you can choose to buy something if you want to wear our gear. We don't know. We're really busy right now with a couple of new tournament directors and some new features on the entry form. And, Chad's busy. I'm busy. And we're just kind of in a wait and see on that. But, hopefully you're going to enjoy the tennis. And that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting plenty of T-shirts if you're playing a lot of tournaments.
Oh, yeah. You're basically getting a T-shirt from almost every tournament that you play. And, if you're like me, you've got too many of them right now anyway. So, and if you're like Chad, you have so many shirts that you haven't unpacked all of them yet.
That's right.
So.
That's right. That's exactly right.
This program is sponsored by Family Medical Centers. Family Medical Centers is a community health center with more than 225 locations throughout South Central and a portion of North Central Kentucky in 33 counties. Chad, I don't know if you're listening, but those numbers are up from before, because I got updated copy from Family Medical Centers. 225 locations, 33 counties, including Warren. Anyway, they provide complete primary care services, but they also offer pediatrics, OBGYN, oral health services, school-based health centers, behavioral health services, mobile optometry services. That's hard to say. Mobile optometry services. There we go. Substance use disorder treatment, a pediatric wellness program, a workplace wellness program, a discount pharmacy program, outreach services, local scholarship opportunities, and more. Family Medical Centers has been recognized as a national quality leader by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Check them out on their website at CumberlandFamilyMedical.com, on Facebook at Facebook.com/Family Medical Centers, and on Instagram and Twitter at Cumberland FMC. We'd also like to give a big thank you to Cumberland Family Medical Centers for renewing their sponsorship of this program. So let's go to let's talk about some tournament results. We'll do the Sydney Cassady Memorial. That's our most recent tournament that just completed on June 15th and 16th in Bowling Green. Chad was the director of that tournament. How do you think it went?
I think it went really well. It was very, very hot. And as a tournament director, sometimes if nobody has to go to the hospital, it's a successful event. Because unfortunately that happens. And there's not a whole lot you can do. A lot of it really is the responsibility of the player. But you can offer some things like water and shade and wet towels. And, we were able to play a lot of semifinals on Saturday when the weather was a little better. Mm-hmm. And so that meant, I wanted to say probably in 3/4 of the divisions, we were able to just play a final on Sunday. There were others that are just too big. We've got to play a semifinal on Sunday and the final on Sunday as well. And so I think that helped. It allowed me to get more people playing in the morning on Sunday. And we had some folks retire, and I'm really glad when they do that. I think tournament directors, are never going to be upset if somebody pulls out because they're just going in the wrong direction with heat.
Sure, you got to make the right decision for yourself on that.
Because
I didn't mean to laugh either when you mentioned taking anybody to the hospital. It just kind of caught me off guard when you said that, so I just sort of giggled. But yeah, it is a serious thing. Yeah, heat.
And if you try to just stick it out, you can be in really bad shape, and it's hard to recover. And it's just a downward spiral. So we did have some retirements, but our numbers were okay. But we had.
I'll just tell you. Let me stop. It crossed my mind in my doubles match.
Yep.
Like it was almost time for the third set tiebreaker, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm not used to this. I mean, especially since I didn't play at all last year, and it just got hot on us out of nowhere. And it's something that did come to mind, and even my doubles partner Trina said, "Can you play? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right."
Yeah,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just had that thought.
We've had hotter tournaments, but we've had such mild weather in the spring and early, late spring, getting into May and early June. That the heat that we've been dealing with for the last couple of weeks is just nobody's really acclimated to it, and so that was a concern. But it was a great weekend. This is the first year under the name the Sydney Cassady Memorial. We put a lot of work into some different things this year because of how special the young lady was who we honor and remember. So we had an alumni event on Friday night, which was really fun. Her family came out. Her brother and sister played in the tournament on Saturday as well. The family was there. We had some unique things about the tournament, but I was really, really happy with how everything went last weekend.
Well, that's great. It seems like Saturday the temps were in the mid 80s, maybe a little bit higher, and then Sunday it jumped to the mid 90s.
Yeah, I think we got around 90 on Saturday. With humidity, it had us in the upper 90s, low 100s. It's the heat index, and then especially Sunday around 1 o'clock or so, maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, it got up to like 95, 96, and the heat index was in the low 100s, and that's when it was a real concern. But I remember sitting there and saying, I've only got, I want to say I maybe had 10 people on the court. We were just using South Warren. We had a couple doubles matches and a couple singles matches. So we only had 10 to 12 people on the court as opposed to possibly as many as 20 to 25, and so our numbers were a little bit lower, and that was maybe a blessing because that allowed us to not have to put people in such a dangerous situation.
It works out, and other than me losing in the first round, I thought everything that I saw went really well. So congratulations.
One thing that was really neat is we had the girls from Murray State came over and played in the women's open doubles, and then we had our open doubles. We had some really good matches both Saturday night and Sunday. So that's always kind of fun to see. I mean. I'm not trying to dog people like myself, but when you see some, college level people out there playing and you see really high level of tennis, it's really nice for everybody to be able to see. I kind of wish it hadn't had to be so late on Saturday. It was like a 7:00 match, but no, we had some really good tennis, and
that's not terribly it's not terribly out of the ordinary. I mean, that happens.
Yeah, so it was very successful. I think. The goal of the tournament is to start awarding a scholarship in Sydney's memory through the College Heights Foundation, and I think we're going to be really, really close to achieving that. Our goal is $10,000, and we're going to be pretty close.
And if people still want to contribute to that off the top of your head, do you have the link or?
No, I would just if you do a Google search for Sydney Cassady Memorial WKU, it'll pop up.
All right. Well, with that in mind, let's look at the results from that tournament, and I'll let you start with boys 12 and under singles. We'll go through the championship matches in each of these divisions.
All right, in the boys 12 singles, Jonah Bradstreet defeated Mason Hales 6-0, 6-2.
In boys 14 and under singles, Ace Osman defeated Jackson Cooper 6-love, 6-love.
In boys 16 singles, John Clay Ford defeated Miles Mudd 6-1, 6-2.
In boys 18 and under singles, Braden Cochran defeated Jake Roy 6-4, 7-5.
In girls 14 singles, it was a round robin, and the winner was Abigail Joyner, and the runner-up was Lily Faria.
In girls 16 and under singles, Joanna Zhang defeated Claire Riney 6-4, 6-2.
In girls 18 singles, Arden Deathridge defeated Addison Hales 6-0, 6-1.
Oh, a teammate showdown, huh?
That's right.
All right, next is boys 18 and under doubles, and in that final, Jackson Donovan and Paxton Ebbets defeated Jake Roy and Carson Donahue 6-2, 6-2.
In girls 18 and under doubles, it was Ava and Emma Walker defeating Lauren Bragg and Aaron Riney 7-6, 6-2.
So in the adult draws in men's open singles, Chris Allen defeated Matthew McGrail 6-3 and a retirement there. So one of those retirements you're talking about. That was
a situation where the Heat, and he made the right call. And, the other bad thing, a little side note there is what I've learned over the years with the Heat is, sometimes people are in, rough shape, and then we get them in the shade and they're okay, and we get fluids in them and they seem to be okay. And then they go somewhere. They go to a restaurant, eat. That's happened. They go home.
In the air conditioning.
And then all of a sudden that full body cramp comes on. They can't get out of it. And they have to go to the hospital and get some fluids. And so he was going to drive back to Louisville, and that really was kind of concerning. And so I'm glad to hear he made it out okay. But that was one that was in the heat of the day too, and he probably made the right call. In men's C singles, Gregory Bernard defeated Larry Kohler 6-1, 6-1.
And in men's B singles, Isaiah Butler defeated Joshua Morris 6-1, 6-1.
We jumped down to women's B singles, and April Harris was the winner in a walkover over Gracie Catton, who was sick Saturday night, and so she defaulted the final on Sunday.
All right. In men's open doubles, looks like we had a great final here. Owen Brown and Harris Shabazz. Am I saying that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Great. Got it first try. Defeated Jackson Donovan and Justin Ham in split sets. It was 4-6, 7-6, 7-3 tiebreaker, and then 10-8 in the super tiebreaker. What a match. I wish I could have seen that one. Was it on TV? Was it on
No, it
ESPN?
was not.
Maybe it should have been.
In men's C doubles, it was Brady and Richard Jackson defeating Charles and James, or it's Jameson, right?
Let me jump back to that. I'm not on that page. Let me jump back to that. So Charles Roberts is Jameson.
Jameson, yeah.
Okay. Goes by his middle name. And his father is James. Yeah.
So the Jacksons beat the Roberts 6-4, 6-0.
And I think that's father and son versus father and son. Am I right?
I believe you're correct on that.
Yeah. We have a walkover for the championship in men's B doubles. It's June Tomioka and Van Patterson taking that title in a walkover over William Hatchett and Devin Hanline.
In women's open doubles, this was the All Murray State final. It was Paula Campagato and Valeria Tchaikovskaya defeating Sarah Bureau and Natalie Slezakova 6-4 and 6-3. I asked the Murray State coach who also played. It's kind of odd a lot of times for these international players to still be around.
Mm-hmm.
And two of them had just graduated and were going to grad school. And two of them were getting ready to work camp in the Northeast. I want to say Vermont, New Hampshire, somewhere like that. So they were starting that this week, this upcoming week. And so they were still hanging around. So they decided to come over and play. We were really thrilled that they decided to do so.
Yes, that's great. I'm glad they were a part of it. So, and you did well pronouncing those names, as far as I know.
Thank you. Yeah,
sounded right to me.
Yeah.
I especially have trouble sometimes. And here's one that I may have trouble with. Let's look at women's B doubles. In that final, it was Krista Hatchett and Heidi Van Amerigen. Amerigen?
I think I called her Van Ameringen, but I could be.
Amerigen. It could be. Oh, man. Let me try that again. Krista Hatchett and Heidi Van Ameringen defeated Amber Wolf and Paula Edwards 6-2, 6-2. And if I said that incorrectly, I apologize.
In mixed open doubles, another Division I player. This is Samantha Martinez, who just graduated from WKU. She teamed with Horace Shabazz, and they defeated Molly Knoll and Jorge Luis Simao Melo Setano, and he's the Murray State coach, and they defeated them 6-1, 6-4.
You did great with those. Again, as far as I know, you did great with those.
Pretty successful weekend for a sixth grader to win the men's open and the mixed open doubles.
That's insane. That is
he's
insane.
Going in. He's a rising seventh grader, but he's a good, heck of a player.
We're going to be reading about him one day. And finally, in mixed B doubles, it was Heidi Van Ameringen and Joshua Morris defeating Tez Bowerman and Camden Jackson 6-3, 6-4.
And they were from Murray as well, and I think a lot of those folks, and this is an ideal situation for us as the CKTS, one of the reasons why we work so hard on the schedule is they were people who were trying to get ready for the 18 and over state tournament, which is being played this weekend when we're recording in Lexington. So, it was good tournament prep for them, and we wish them and all the folks competing the best of luck this weekend.
So that's a look back at the results from the Sydney Cassady Memorial Tournament, the first annual Sydney Cassady Memorial Tournament. And before we move ahead, Chad, will you tell us about Vision Cabinet Source?
Vision Cabinet Source is a kitchen and bath cabinet supplier that ships all over the United States and has done so for over a decade. Whether you're building a new home or renovating a room in your home or basement, Vision Cabinet Source can provide you with classic cabinet styles that are well-built and affordable. You also find they go above and beyond to provide service that exceeds expectations, from answering your initial questions to ensuring that you're happy with the final delivered product. Every Vision cabinet is built upon their promise to deliver well-constructed cabinets made from solid hardwoods, classic, versatile designs that complement your style, affordable options that fit your budget, on-time delivery with shipment within 24 hours, and accessible personal service you can count on. They have many different painted and stained lines of cabinets that are stocked at their warehouse in Campbellsville. Making these beautiful cabinets, they have a 17-step finishing process that assures top quality craftsmanship. Go online and look at their styles and designs for yourself, and you'll agree that they do great work at an affordable price. Check them out on their website at visioncabinet.com, or you can call them at 270-465-3222. Tell them you heard about Vision Cabinet Source right here on Game Set Match Kentucky.
We don't have any point standings just yet, and I know you're shocked. I know the audience is shocked. What? They don't have points after 2 tournaments? No. Do we ever? No. But it's kind of a long-running joke now. But they're coming. I've got a new system. It's up here, and it's just not here yet. So it is coming. And I hope to have point standings for you very soon. The good news is everybody's going to be in those, so look for your name if you played at the Miller Park Tennis Classic or at the Sydney Cassady Memorial Tournament. What's next for the CKTS is the State Farm E-Town Open. That will be July 6th and 7th in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Chad, we've got this 3-week break in the middle between Tournament 2 and Tournament 3. I love the 3-week break. Wouldn't that be a perfect opportunity for me to get the points finished? We'll see.
No pressure.
Yeah, we'll see. Sometimes when I have too much time is when I procrastinate the most.
Yeah, I feel
unfortunately. But entries will open this coming Monday, June 24th, for the State Farm E-Town Open. The deadline to enter the deadline to register is Tuesday, July 2nd at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, that's a 9-day window. Get those entries in. The tournament after that will be in Danville. Danville is back on the tour after many years away, and we are excited to go to Millennium Park and Bate Middle School for the 12 available courts for the Danville Open. That will be on July 20th and 21st, of course, in Danville, Kentucky. That's in Boyle County, right in the middle of Kentucky. Entries will open on Monday, July 8th, right after the completion of the E-Town Open. The deadline will be Tuesday, July 16th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Our next 2 tournaments are in the Eastern Time Zone. So we've had 1 Eastern, 1 Central. Now we're back in the Eastern Time Zone for the next 2. And so we go back and forth. We have 4 Eastern and 4 Central this year. You can visit cktstour.com to register and to see our complete tournament schedule, which, Chad, is already going. It's hard to believe we've already had 2, and we have 6 left, and they're going to be over before we know it. I mean, once the season gets going, it seems to really go quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't play the Miller Park because that was the weekend that we hosted the 55s, and that was in between state tournaments. And then it's always tough to play in my own tournament, and so I'm thinking about playing E-Town. I was going to play Danville since it was first year back on the tour, but that's the weekend we're going to be in Alabama for sectionals. It's probably makes me really want to try to play E-Town if I can.
Yeah, I can't be there for E-Town, and I'm sad about it. And but I am not hoping it's rained out and moved to the next weekend. I would never wish that on anybody, even if it meant that I could play. So yeah, I'm not doing that. Karen will kill me if she hears this. Karen Henson, the director.
She'll really kill you on that Saturday if it rains.
They have battles with rain at that tournament. They do. I mean, I don't understand it, but it's a battle every year. CKTS tournaments are USTA sanctioned for juniors and adults at level 6. While we're on the track here of announcements, Chad, you want to tell us anything that's going on with the Southern Kentucky Tennis Association?
Yeah, a couple things. We've got a pretty new, neat event. Hopefully we can do this annually. But Wimbledon is just around the corner. And so Bowling Green Parks and Recreation and Soki Tennis have teamed up for a Wimbledon experience. A grass court has been created at one of the parks. It's Covington Woods Park. It's not a park that we play any tournaments at usually. It's only got 2 courts, but there was some space. I believe Tim said it used to be a croquet court, but it was a flat piece of land with some grass, and so we've put up a temporary net, and we're going to have a Wimbledon party next Saturday. That's the 29th, and there's going to be an adult clinic at 11:30 and a kids clinic at 12:30. There's going to be food and some door prizes and whatnot, but just kind of an opportunity to get out there and play on grass. If you've always wanted to, never done so, it's a different experience. So we're looking forward to that event next weekend.
So this picture that Soki's Facebook page has from a couple of days ago, is that a picture of the actual court?
Park. No, that was kind of the test run because the folks at Sky Soccer have a robotic painter, a little robot that comes out and paints lines. And so it has a tennis preset, and so they were testing it out at another one of the city parks, the one that Tim kind of oversees on Lover's Lane. And so now that is not the Covington Woods is a heavily shaded park, so it's a really nice park to play at this time of year. So it is more towards downtown Bowling Green. It's not real far from Kariakis Park. But there'll be a temporary court. I believe it's going to be up for the 2 weeks of the fortnight, as they call it, and people will get an opportunity to get out there and play. That'll be a first come first serve. But this Wimbledon event will kind of kick that 2 week run of that grass court off. We'll see. We'll see if the grass holds out for 2 weeks because, as you have seen on TV, Wimbledon, if they get some play on it. That grass gets chewed up and becomes dead and yellow, and so we'll see how it goes.
Very cool. But you can learn more about Soki Tennis at SokiTennis.net or visit their Facebook page at facebook.com/Soki Tennis. Courtesy of USTA Kentucky, there will be a Nike tennis camp at Eastern Kentucky University in Richmond on July 22nd through the 26th. Both day and overnight camps are offered. This camp delivers serious instruction with lots of fun. Also, from the beginning of June through September 15th, the window is open to nominate for USTA Kentucky awards. For more details on these and other events happening with USTA Kentucky, visit KentuckyTennis.com or at USTA Kentucky on Facebook and X. By the way, if you're a fan of tennis history, on USTA Kentucky's Facebook page, be sure to check out the postings from Coach Dennis Emery called Kentucky Tennis History, A Moment in Time. I've read some of those. They're pretty interesting.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I catch them, they kind of show up in the feed. And so, they are little nuggets. It's nice. It's nice to kind of see people talk about the past and people who, know a little bit more because, even stuff 20, 30 years ago, people it kind of gets lost.
Yeah.
And so that was, I do enjoy reading them myself.
I'm fascinated by accounts of kids that were like 13 years old and they won the state tournament for 4 or 5 years in a row and all those little stories like that. They're kind of neat.
One other thing I wanted to mention, though, is there is a tournament coming up July 13th. It's a one-day tournament. We had a couple of these last winter. It's called Sky Summer Flights, and there'll be one at the indoor facility. I'm not sure if they're going to use the indoor courts, though, but it'll be July 13th. It's a WTN tournament. If you're familiar with that, it's the USDA's version of UTR, and so basically it's co-ed, and they take your WTN and try to pair you with other people of like ability, And so I think there's a 3-match guarantee, but there can be, sometimes 4 and 5, mainly round robins. And I think they just play one set so that we can kind of keep things moving on. But it was very successful. I think the more that these are done, I think people, that's just a different type of tournament than, our series of tournaments or your USGA tournaments. And so I think it being a one-day event, I think people really enjoy that aspect, and you get a lot of tennis out of it too.
Yeah, I'm glad you remembered to mention that too, because I'm considering playing that. So,
and I'll throw one more thing at you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of a Soaky thing, but we did learn earlier this week of the passing of Ralph Maxson. Ralph Maxson and his wife owned Tennis Town. His obituary was in the Louisville papers, and it's where he had lived the last couple of years after he and his wife both moved there, I think, to live with their daughter. And, it was read in the obituary. I didn't know this, that, Ralph was working in the family business, but his dream was to own a tennis club, and he opened up Tennis Town in Bowling Green. Folks might remember that. That's on
I do.
Three Springs Road, and a 4-court facility. And they opened that in 1979. And Ralph and Lucia were just wonderful people. Ralph made a huge mark on so many tennis players and tennis and Bowling Green. He was still running tournaments, I think, until maybe the early 2010s. And so it was Lucia passed away, I think, 6 years ago, and he was 95 years old, and he passed away. And certainly one of the most well-known people in Bowling Green tennis history. And Tennis Town was kind of an institution in Bowling Green, and it was more than just a tennis facility. It was a social club, and there are some stories I can't share on the podcast, but a lot of folks in Bowling Green and surrounding counties certainly will remember Ralph, and sorry to hear of his passing. There's going to be an event in Bowling Green. I think there's a memorial service next weekend in Louisville, but there'll be an event in Bowling Green for folks who want to come out and remember the life that he lived and the legacy that he had.
If you have some events that you would like for us to announce on the program, you can email those to info@gamesetmatchky.com. Chad, we have a challenge the call question for the first time in a while.
All right,
and
let's get ready.
Here we go. So the question is, and this has surprisingly come up more than once. When I purchase a tour pass, why am I not automatically registered for every tournament? You want to try that one?
Well, just because you purchase a tour pass doesn't necessarily mean that you want to play in every tournament, does it?
It does not.
That'd be the first thing. I mean, people do have there are very few people who play all 8 events.
Very few.
Very few. And it's difficult, with all the conflicts that people have. So, I mean, that would be my first. You wouldn't want to be automatically entered into a tournament, then, be a no-show, right?
Right. We don't know which tournaments you can make it to or not.
Or which events you might want to play too.
Correct. That was going to be my next point. Maybe you're playing only singles in the first tournament, but what are you? Are you playing open singles, B singles, C singles? If you're a kid, what ages do you qualify for? Are you playing doubles or not? So it would be really strange to automatically enter someone in anything just because they purchased a tour pass. We have people that buy tour passes that play only 2 or 3 times. They're not quite getting their money's worth. You're going to get that at 5 tournaments probably. And so maybe you play 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. We don't know. And we don't know if you play doubles all the time, but maybe one of the tournaments your doubles partner can't play and you couldn't find another partner. We're not going to automatically put you in a doubles division that you may not be able to play. So buying the tour pass is essentially your entry fees, but it doesn't enter you in anything. You still have to register. When the window opens for a particular tournament registration, you still need to log into the website, go to that entry form, and say, hey, in this tournament, I am once again going to play men's B singles, but this time I'm also going to play men's B doubles, because it's not going to be identical entries for anybody every time. So that is why those reasons are the main ones why you're not automatically registered when you purchase a tour pass. And this has come up this year, and it's come up about once a year. It comes up over the last few years. I get that question. So I hope this explains.
And a question I get a lot too, it's usually people who maybe are local players or out-of-town players who don't play a lot of CKTS events. If you are wanting to play a CKTS tournament, you have to log in to the website. You have to go to the website and you have to log in. And I get a lot of people who say, I'm at the website, but I don't see a registration form. And I'm like, well, you have to log in. Once you log in, then that registration form not only pops up at the bottom of the tournament page, it also populates all your information into that registration form.
Maybe not all of it, but close.
A lot of it, yeah. A lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it also only allows you to enter tournaments for which you're eligible. And I think that was maybe in place at the end of last year, but that's a helpful thing. Because, I probably had 3 or 4 people who were signing up a child, and they entered them in the open divisions by mistake. And so that has cut down on the mistakes like that where people are entering the wrong division. But you always have to be logged in for that registration page or that registration information to show up on the tournament page.
And along the same lines, everyone needs their own login. Even if it's a child and the parent's going to register the child, set up a Gmail for them. They need their own email address. An email address is unique to every player. So a username and an email address, they need their own account. And so if I, as a parent, am registering for a tournament and then I want to register my son to play, I've got to log out and then log in as him or let him do it. But it's separate logins for everyone. So we had once upon a time, there would be parents would get on, they'd log in once and they'd sign up the whole family. But now that we've connected demographic information to each player to pre-populate when you log in, that necessitated the need for separate logins and separate individual accounts for each player. So, and it seems to be, knock on whatever surface this desk is, I don't think it's wood, but it seems to be working okay. So that's a challenge the call question. We haven't had one in a while, but please keep them coming. If you want to challenge the call, you can email us at challenge@gamesetmatchky.com. Well, we've been on for a while, but that is going to just about serve out another episode of Game Set Match Kentucky, and I want to thank everyone again for watching or listening. You can subscribe to this podcast, as always, with any major podcast app on your mobile device. And also, I fixed the podcast feed. There was something going on where it was only bringing out the 10 most recent episodes. That was just a little setting that I missed somewhere. Now you can go all the way back, all 38. This is 38 episodes. If you want to go back and hear how bad I sounded in 2018 and how pitiful this show was until Chad became a permanent co-host, then you can go back and listen to all of them since 2018. So I fixed the feed, and now you can listen to any of them. And you can review the podcast, too, as always, in your podcast app or in the podcast app on your computer. We'd love for you to write us a short review and give us a 5-star rating. You can go to GameSetMatchKY.com, and you can go all the way back to that very first episode now. You can go also to Facebook at facebook.com/GameSetMatchKY. Or search on Facebook for Game Set Match Kentucky, the podcast. We're also on X at Game Set Match KY. The CKTS is on Facebook at CKTS Tour and on X at CKTS Tour. Chad is on X at Chad Young Tennis. I'm on X at Chris Godby. We're also, I said this before, we're on Instagram now. I'll confess, I don't really know how to use it, so some of my posts aren't showing up. I'm too old for Instagram. I know I don't see the point of it, but, you know, the kids like it, so I'm using it. And we are on Instagram at GameSetMatchKY and at CKTS Tour. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/@GameSetMatchKY. I also messed that up, Chad. The YouTube channel. Our last episode didn't get on there, and that was my fault. I put in the feed wrong or something. I'll get that straightened out. So lots of issues to work through personally, professionally, technically, tennis-wise. I got a lot going on. Lots
a lot of issues.
Yeah. I'll be the first to admit it. Thanks again to our sponsors, Vision Cabinet Source and Family Medical Centers. There's that noise. Hawkeye says it's finally time. We are out.
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Are you sure? Yeah, one day we'll have Hawkeye at our matches, you know, or I think we'll probably just skip that. We'll just have.
Yeah.
Say again.
I've got that Swing Vision app. I haven't kind of tested out the instant replay line calling function of it, but might have to do that in the future, like for like the championship match and do that.
Yeah,
it'd be something.
Yeah, I still want to borrow that thing and try that out sometime. So, well, until next time, who knows when that will be, by the way. But until next time, I'm sure that this is Chris Godby with Chad Young, and this has been Game Set Match Kentucky.